Hello, my friends. Today we're learning Brastra Daf Tes. Today is a yahrzeit of the grandfather of my grandmother, Rabbi Yaakov Yosef Herman, known as All for the Boss. And I want to dedicate the shir today for Ilu Nishmosoi. And I want to share with you a story that I heard from my good friend Kivi Shpiro about him. At one time, there was a guy who used to come eat by him. He used to host him a lot. That way he was very big into Achnosas Orchim. And one day, someone tells him, let's call this guy who used to eat by him a lot, Reuven. And Shimon comes to my grandfather and tells him, you know, this Reuven comes to eat by you as if he's a poor man. Really, he's a rich man. He goes, drink this expensive drink. I see him always in this place, in this restaurant, drinking this very expensive drink. So my grandfather asked him, really? What expensive drink does he drink? So he told him, this and this drink. Where did you see him drinking it? He said, on 14th Street. Over there's a shop where they sell it and it's very expensive. And my grandfather told him, thank you very much for the information. And then he went to that shop and he bought that drink. And when the next time Reuven came to him to eat by him, he took out the drink and told him, I heard you like this drink. Please help yourself. And instead of listening to him like a Lashon Hara, he took the story and turned it into doing even a better Achnosas Orchim, to bring specifically what that person liked to give him to drink. And I love the story and it's very powerful. Let's get down to learning the Gemara. We're going to start Daf Kof Ches on base, 4 lines up, L'Rabbanon Mai. We learned in the Mishnah, in Cheskas Abatim, that there's a din of Chazaka, that 3 years are in a field together, that you have a taina that you bought the field, even though they don't have a document, it's a proof to your taina that you bought it or you got it as a present. The Gemara discussed until now, what's the source of this din? We said we learn it from Shor HaMod. And the Gemara said, if you learn it from Shor HaMod, like a Shor HaMod becomes a mod after 3 times, also Chazaka after 3 times, or Meah has a shitta, that you can become a Shor HaMod in 1 day. So also by us, you should become Chazaka less than 3 years, even in a shorter period. So Gemara says, Enochanami fits in very good with Rab Shimon Gamliel in the Mishnah, who says that even in 1 year you could do Chazaka. So now the Gemara says, okay, very good. This is Shimon Gamliel. We know where his source for Chazaka is. Where is Rabbanon? Rabbanon Mai, says the Gemara. Rabbanon argue Rab Shimon Gamliel, and he can't have a Chazaka in 1 year. What's their source that there is such a thing called as a Chazaka? Omar of Yosef, Kroksid, it says a pasuk, Shodois bakesef iknu v'ksoy basefer v'chasoim. It says, it's talking about Irmiyah, that he told the people that they should buy fields and they should write it in a document, in a star, and bichoisam, and bring Eidim. Shari Novi, said the Gemara, Shari Novi oimed be'eser, mazi alechas esra. That means the Novi was standing 2 years before the Golus, and he told them, guys, you should buy fields, but you should write a document. The Gemara says, we could see from there that 2 years is no chazaka, because if 2 years is a chazaka, why would you need to write a document? It's good enough chazaka after 2 years. Elomai, it must be that you can see that 2 years is no chazaka, and therefore her 3 years is a chazaka. Omale Abaye, Dilma also made it Tova Kamashmalon. What's the Raya from Irmiyah? Maybe Irmiyah was saying the best way you should do it when you buy a field, you should write a document, because the chazaka, you have to find the Eidim that saw you in the field for those years, and maybe did the Macha. It's a complicated process. You don't want to get to that situation. You much prefer having a document. So maybe all he was telling them is a good idea how to do business properly. But it's not that 2 years is not chazaka. Maybe really 2 years is chazaka, but he was telling them how to do it lechatchila. So there's no raya. So the Gemara Koftesa Modalef, the Eloi Teima Achi. If you're not going to say so, it says over there in Irmiyah, they told them some other advice. Bonu Botim, he was telling the people in Bovel that you could build houses because it'll be still 70 years for the Golus, V'shvu, and live in them, and not to ginois, and plant gardens, V'echlu is period, and eat their fruit. My karma, what dinim is he teaching them? Like we were trying to say before, he's trying to tell them a din of chazaka. There's no din. He's just telling them, you're going to be in Golus for a long time, settle in. Ochenami also, it's a Tova Kumashman, and also the thing of writing a document is not a locha that he was teaching them, it was just a Eitz Tova. Teidel, I'll bring you another ayah, it says over there, they told him, and Osatim, Bekli Chorosh, the man Yamdu Ramim Rabim, when you write a document, you should put it in a clay vessel that should stay, and it shouldn't get rotten for many years. And obviously, that's just good advice how to keep your documents. There's no halacha involved. So, it can't be that the source of chazaka is from Irmiyah. Elo Marova, Shota Kamaisa, a first year when someone is in Reuven goes into Shimon's field, so first year Shimon's mochil, inish. Tarti, the second year mochil, a person could be mochil. Plus, if someone in his field 3 years without stealing, loy mochil, he's not mochil. So that's why Chazaka 3 years. If 3 years you didn't do a mecha and you let me eat in your field, it must be it's my field. This is the source of Chazaka. Ki adre ara, in a case where the Mori Kama, the one who owned the field before, comes and kicks out the guy who was in the field, let's say less than the Chazaka, he was there only 2 years. Ki adre ara, when you have to give back the field to the Mori Kama, why? You have to give back also the fruit that grew in those 2 years. Why did Rav Nachman say in a case where the guy comes and does a mecha and the person doesn't have a chazaka and he doesn't have a document, the din is hodra ara, the field goes back, but hodra peri, and he has to give the pears they ate in those 2 years. And if we said that the first 2 years the Morikama's moichel, he was moichel on those pears. Elo Marova, Shota Kamaisa, the first year, loy copied inish. A person's not makpid. That means he's not moichel, but he says, I'm not going to bother with a guy who moved into my field. Tarti, 2 years, loy copied. He says, I am not makpid. Plus, if a person's in someone's field for 3 years copied, he's for sure going to kick him out. And if he never kicked him out and never did any mecha, it must be that the person bought off him the field. And we don't have a kasha now, after 2 years, why did the pears go back? Because he wasn't moichel, he was just no makpid. He means, I'm not going to fight with him. But now they decided he has to fight with him. He was never moichel on those pears, that's why he has to give back the pears. Omale Abaye, this does not make any sense. Elo me'atok, Gon Ani Dibar Eliashiv, these people from the house of Eliashiv, the Kapti, Afilu Aman, the Cholef HaMitzra, if someone even walks on the border of the field, they get angry and they tell him off. You do on their border. You want to tell me that if I moved into the Beibar Eliashiv's fields and they didn't do a machar straight away, it's a chazaka, because the whole din is because normally a person waits 3 years, but these people don't wait 3 years. They'll shout at you even if you went on the border. So if I'm in their field, it's a raya that it's my field. If you're going to tell me that someone who's makbid more chazaka is a shorter time, in Keno satot v'recha l'shiurim, a chazaka is not fixed time. Sometimes it's 3 years, sometimes it's a day, and sometimes it's half a year. Depends what type of person you're dealing with. And doesn't make sense the way the Chazal work. They have fixed times for things. Elo marova anupshat shot. Until now, we were saying the svara was in the person, the Morikama, who owned the field before. Now we're going to say the reason is in the person who bought the field. Shota Kamaisa, first year when a person buys a field, Mizdar Inish Bishtora, the one who bought it will be makpid to keep the shtar, to make sure that he has a proof that it's his field. Tarte Betlas Mizdar, up 2 years and 3 years, he'll keep after the shtar. But Fei, more than that, we have a umdin oloy mizdara. How long can I keep the proof that this is mine? I'm already in here for 3 years, and it's natural for him to lose it. So therefore, because of this umdin, we say after 3 years, it's normal for you to lose a shtar, and not that you were there in the field for 3 years, that's a proof that you bought the field off the other person. If this is a pshat, if the Mori Kama, the first person who owned the field, did a mecha and said that the person who moved into my field is a ganev, and he did it not in front of that person, he did it in front of 2 Eidim. Lo to have a mecha should not work, and we know that it does work. The Omalei, why should it not work? Because the person who moved into the field, he could tie into the Morakama, if you do a mecha in front of me, I would keep my star longer. I never knew you did a mecha. So the Gemara Teretz, no, the Omalei, the one who did the mecha, the Morikama, tells the person who did chazaka, Chavroch, your friend, Chavro Isle has a friend, and he's going to tell us tell his friend. The chaver, and your friend of your friend, chaver also has a friend, and so on and so on. And therefore, when someone announces something in front of two people, those two people go tell their friends, and their friends tell their friends, and then you'd hear about it, and you'd know how to keep the shtar. And therefore, that you didn't keep your shtar, it's your problem, and therefore you don't have a chazaka. So it comes out to Nisakim the Sugya. How do we know that Chezka Shaloshonim? We have two pshatim. If you're a Pshim Gamliel, you learn it from Sheramot, and if you're a Bonon, you learn it's umdina that person keeps the shtar 3 years, and more than 3 years, we're not expecting him to keep the shtar. Amar Avona Shaloshonim Sharmu. These 3 years, and we said that Chazaka Hu Shachlan Ritzufes. They ate year 1, year 2, year 3. But if you ate year 1 and then only year 5 and year 7, that's not Chazaka. So the Gemara, my kamashman on what the chiddush of Ravona? Tanina, it's on first Mishnah. Chizkotzon Shaloshonim Yom Liyoim our Mishnah. So the Gemara, no. Mao the tema from our Mishnah, you'd say Yom Liyoim is only coming to tell you la fukei mekutois. Uloilam afilu mifuzoris. It's coming to tell you that it needs 3 full years of 365 years each year. But those years could be year 1, year 5, and year 7, or year 1, year 2, and year 4. It doesn't have to be continuously a 1, 2, 3, or 4, 5, and 6. So we wouldn't know it from the Mishnah. Komash Malon, that's the Chiddush of Rav Huna, to tell you that they have to be one after each other. Omar Rav Chama, Umoidi Rav Huna, even though the Rav Huna said that they need to be year after year, but actually in a place, the Moibri Bagi, that if the minig is, let's say, every 3rd year, not to plant the field. So if he did the chazaka of year 1 and 2 and 3, he didn't plant the field, and 4th he planted the field, even though that they know one after each other, it's a chazaka because that's a minig over here. It's a more pshita. Obviously, how else will he do chazaka? He'll plant it when it's not good for the field. So I'll tell you where we need the chiddush. The ika the murva, the ika the lo. In this valley, some people in the 3rd year leave the field empty, and some people do plant it. By Gavra, this person who has a chazaka of year 1, 2, and 3, he never planted it, and 4 he did. Muvra, he never planted it the 3rd year. Mao the tema, you might have thought, Omarle, the Mori Kama could tell him, if this field you bought off me is yours, why didn't you plant it in year number 3? Kamash Malon, the Omalei, that the person who's Mukhsa could tell him, first of all, first of all, I don't want to be one of the only ones who are planting in this valley, and I'll have to pay for the when it comes, when the produce is ready, I have to pay for security services by myself. Normally, the whole valley, each one chips in to pay for security, then no one should steal stuff. But here, if only a few people planting it, I don't want to pay that high amount of money. In another reason, I prefer the 3rd year not to plant, to have the tfei. Because why do people not plant 1 year? Because they wanted the soil to re-strengthen, and then it should be better produce. I prefer better produce on the 4th year, and that's why they plant it in the 3rd year. And that's why I have a chazaka, even though that they were not continuously years, and I have year number 2, 1, 2, and 4, it's still good, the chazaka. Now, we learned in our Mishnah, Cheskas Abatim, a chazaka of a house is 3 years. Says more cash on Rav Huna, but Batim, in houses, the Bimoma Yodi, you could bring Adim that I lived in the house in the day. How could you bring Adim if you were there at night? Who knows? And therefore, it's not Ritzufas. Rav Huna said it has to be continuously 3 years. How are you going to bring a raya? Omar Abaye, man Masid Abatim, who do you bring a Adim that you lived in the house? Shivavi, the neighbors, Shivavi, made the Yogibi, Mama Velela, they know also they lived also the day and also in the night, and therefore there's no problem to bring a raya that will continuously 3 years you lived in the house. Rabba Omar, no, a different teretz. Going to Osu Beitrei, the person who's muchzik, who's a tainerin, they has a chazaka in the house, brings 2 people. But Amri, they say, we rented from this person the house, the person who's tainerin, they the muchzik, and we lived in it 3 years, day at night. So they're aiding that they lived themselves in the house and they rented it from the muchzik, and therefore we have clear aidim that he's been continuously 3 years in the house. How could this be? These 2 Adim who are living in the house that they say they rented it off from the muchzik, they have a connection to this Eidos. They have intention. They prefer it to be made. Why is that? The Eloi, if Besden will paskin that this field doesn't belong, this house doesn't belong to the muchzik, it belongs to the Mori Kama who's tainerin that it says, Amri, the Eloi Amri Ochiv, they won't if Bezdin won't paskin like that, and with their edus, I'm really new. What are we going to tell them? Zilu avalu agabraisel ahai. You paid rent to the wrong person. You paid rent to the muhzik. It belongs to the first person. Go pay him rent, and they'll have to pay again. So they prefer that it belongs to the muhzik. So they're noigeh be'edus. How is the edus kosher? Omalei. So he answered him, Daini deshvele daini. People who don't know how to paskin would paskin in such a case where they never paid the money yet. They would paskin that this edus is a good edus. For sure, if they paid the money already, if these people paid the money already to the muhzik, for sure they pass edus because they know edus. Milo Yaskin, in our case that we said that we could bring them as edim is talking about going to Nikita Agar Breise, that they never paid yet the rent and they have the rent over here. And they ask Bezdin, who should we give it to? To the person who rented it from, who tainas his muhzik, or from the original owner? So they don't care who Bezdin paskins. So then Bezdin could ask these two people, when did you live in this house? Oh, for 3 years. Day and night? Yes, day and night. So they're good edus because they're not noigeh be'edus. They have the cash to pay whoever Bezdin will paskin to. Omar Marzutra. So we said that you have to have a chazaka of 3 full years. But it doesn't mean that Bezdin are going to ask someone if Reuben tainas this field belongs to me, and Shimon says, no, I have edim that I will chazaka here 3 years. It doesn't mean that we're going to go and ask the edim, did you see also continuously 3 years? Did you see at nights as well? It means that if it's not full 3 years, if we know that wasn't continuous 3 years, we have a problem. But if we don't know, we don't look into it. Said on that Mazurtra, Omar Mazurtra, ve'itoin v'omar, leisu tres adil asidile de darbe klas shoni v'imomo v'leile tanose tane. If Reuben's coming and tells Shimon, okay, very good, you brought me edim, you lived in here 3 years. I want that this edim to be made, that they saw you also at night, maybe they also saw you only at day, and they lived the 3 days and 3 years in the day. I want them to be made that you also at night. Says Mazutra, yeah, we listen to this time and we best are going to ask the edim, did you see also at night? But otherwise we won't ask them that. I mean, but if the Toivia is saying, no, he didn't live at night, he's coming with a Tainsbury, maybe he lived in the day, but I saw at night he didn't live there, I went at night and no one was in the house, then we'll ask the Eidim, did you see also in the night? So the Gemara of Tessamon Beis, Mazurtra agrees, even though that we said you only taina this taina, if the guy comes bevados and says, I saw we didn't sleep, these guys never lived in the night, but in a case, if the Mori Kama, who's taining that this house belongs to him and someone else is muhzik. He's someone who's a peddler who goes from city to city, from village to village to sell tachshitim, like we learned earlier that there's such a takona. And even if he's not taining to the muhzik, did you live also at night? Taninele Bezdin will taina. Taninele anon Bezdin are going to ask the edim, did you see these people that lived in the house, whose muhzik, did they live there also at night? Because it's roichlim or not in town all the time. So they don't know what to ask. They never check, they don't know what to ask. Therefore, Bezdin will taina for them. Umoide Rav Huna, and Rav Huna, who says that it has to be continuously 3 years, the Chanusa de Mechuzah, in the shops in a place called Mechuzah, even though they have edim only for the day and not for the night, it's a good chazaka. Why that? The shops in Mechuzah, it's not the minute to be them at night. So therefore, a person who's machzik in them 3 years does not have to be in the night. Like in a field, you don't need to bring edim that you were in the field at night, because no one's in the field at night, only in the day. So only have to be continuously here. 3 years, the continuous is only that the person who was in the field or the house, the normal nature of the house. The house is the nature to be in day at night. So you have to bring edim. If the guy tainas you not at night, he has to bring edim. But in a field, only in the day. So that more over here, the shops in Mechuzah is like a field that the meaning is not to be at night, so you don't need the edim that he was there in the night. Romi bar Choma v'Rav Ukva bar Choma. These two Amiroim, Zobu Na'iyamos, so they bought this woman slave, Adi Adodi, together in partnership. Mari Shtamish Barishoino, Shlishish V'Richamishis. One of them used this slave year 1, year 3, and year 5. Umar, the other partner, used her Shnir, Shlishish, Reviz, Vishishis, year number 2, year number 4, and year number 6. And the reason why they did that, because if one of them would have the help for 3 years, he could have tinied them against his friend, she's mine. And therefore they did a year. And therefore no one could have a chazaka against each other. Nofak Aryeh, the person who they bought off the slave from came and said, I never sold you the slave, it belongs to me. Also, and they had Adim that they had it 1 year by him for a few years. This case came in front of Rabba. Rabba told him, my time, why did he do a chazaka? Why did you have them 1 year by one and 1 year by the other? That one of you can't claim that the slave belongs to you. Like for you it's not chazaka against your partner. That you had it for 3 years, but 1 year by him, the other year by him, and the other year by the first person, it's also not chazaka against the original person, because the original person never sold the slave by one person for 3 years. Said the Gemara, we don't say this, that they never wrote a shtar that they are partners and they own the slave together. If they wrote this there's a sound to it, and therefore we look at them as one partnership, one ownership. We look at these two Amoraim as one entity, because they have a shtar that belongs to both of them, and therefore that they gave it 1 year doesn't take away from them, because they together go against the original owner and they say, listen, the other coil that we did this partnership, so we are one entity, and therefore, as one entity, we had this slave for 3 years, and he didn't do a machor. We have a chazaka. If a person was in a field and he was there for 3 years, and in those 3 years he ate the produce of the whole field, the one part of the field, the size of beis roiva, that's enough to be considered a chosh of a pot. He never used anything, he never plowed, he never ate the fruit. He had a chazaka on the whole field, except that part that he never used, because on that part he doesn't have a chazaka. We don't say this, only if that beis roiva you could plant over there. If you can't plant over there, since you can't plant over there, you can't tie it to him, you never have a chazak on that part, I couldn't plant over there, what do you want from me? And therefore agav, the rest is koine also that, even though they never used that part. Matki Flora Bibi Barabayer asked upon the cash on this, Elomato, if what you were saying, if someone buys a field that's a big piece of rock, that you can't plant anything, how could you do chazaka? You can't plant anything. Eloi must be what's pshat. The chazaka of a person who buys a field that you can't plant in anything, the chazaka that uses it for the uses that you could do in it, to put animals over there, to guard there, or to lay out fruit to dry. You have what to do with a field that you can't plant. And if someone, that's a chazaka in such a type of field, they used it the way you use it. So Ochinami, also by us, in the case where you did the chazaka on the whole field except the beis roiva, and that beis roiva you can't plant anything, you can't say, I never planted it because I can't plant over there, and therefore because I have a chazaka on the rest of the field, I have a chazaka on this. No, you should have used that part. Why didn't you put in a fruit to dry? Why didn't you keep your animals over there? Since you never used it on that part, you don't have a chazaka. And therefore you have a chazaka on the rest, very good, but on this beis roiva you don't have a chazaka, and mochzik. The next part of the Gemara is already a sugya that we're going to do in the next year. Today is Tzom Shivasa B'Tammuz. I really hope and pray to Hashem that next year Shivasa B'Tammuz will be a big holiday, a big celebration of Geula and happiness and redemption. Whoever's fasting should have an easy fast.